Good morning. Um, Hang on one second. All right, let's try this again. Good morning and welcome. Good morning if you're in New Zealand, of course. This is where I am streaming from. My name is Emma. I have a company called Unfuck My Life. It is personal development coaching. What we're doing right now is going to be taking real situations, real behavior patterns, and looking at and talking honestly about what's actually going on in the situation, um, and what would actually help. No fluff, no toxic positivity, none of that. Just get into the nitty gritty of what's actually happening here. I've spent 23 years in the fitness, wellness, and personal development kind of industry, and I've also lived on the messy side of life. So I'm not coming at this from like a textbook, I'm coming at it from real life experience. Um, and if you've got any of your own situations that you want to share that you want me to talk about, feel free to add them in the chat and I will look into them and we'll talk about it. This is my first episode, so bear with me. I have not done this before. Okay, now then, let's get our first one up. All right, so I'm going to read this out to you and then we'll talk about it afterwards. How to get over self-hatred on the wrong career decision. So I'm 29, turning 30 soon. I feel like I've completely ruined my own career. I've over 6 years of experience, but last year I made a choice that I can't stop hating myself for. Last year, while I was casually looking for a new job, I was contacted by a headhunter for a company with great benefits, competitive salary. I'm actually terrible at interviews, but I got lucky that the headhunter had been struggling to fill the role for months. So he went the extra mile, helping me prepare and sharing exactly what the company wanted, coached me through answers, and we even did like mock interviews. Thanks to this help, I managed to pass the interview, received an offer. However, it was close to my appraisal cycle due to personal commitment. I would have had to resign from my first and be unemployed for about a month. I would have had to resign first, sorry, and be unemployed for about a month before starting the new job. That meant some uncertainty and also forfeiting bonus. Fear and uncertainty took over. I declined, told myself I could find something better after the appraisal, but I was dead wrong. My current company didn't value me as I hoped, and that opportunity is gone forever. Since the start of this year, I've been job hunting again, 4 months in, and it's been almost entirely rejection, silence, or ghosting. I feel like I'm paying the price for my own stupidity, um, and I can't shake the self loathing. I hate that I can't forgive myself. Has anyone ever felt this level of self hatred over a career choice? How do you stop hating yourself when a single choice feels like it's defined your professional life? Okay, so what we're looking at here is someone who was obviously at a crossroads. And a lot of people that I've worked with that are looking for something new, are exploring other opportunities. Um, we always have, like, unless you're going for that job that you have absolutely wanted, and it's like your dream job. We're usually looking at a couple of things where you're weighing options, you're not sure, we're doing pros, we're doing cons. Ultimately, I think a way that I take and a way that I would impart reassurance for what is happening is whatever the outcome ends up being. Look, regrets are one of the worst things that you can dwell on. There is a reason why something didn't work out the way that maybe you thought it should, maybe you felt like it should, um, maybe you think you made a mistake. It might not be any sort of magical um, and sort of fluffy approach. In terms of what I mean here is there's always a plan. right? And it's not necessarily like if you're religious and it's God's plan, so be it. Like I'm not a religious person, but I still think there is always a bigger plan somewhere along the line. There's a reason why things pan out the way they do. And if we dwell too much on what has happened, you're sitting in a space that doesn't exist anymore. The only productive way to deal with it is looking at what is in front of you right now. So the negative mindset talk, the negative internal talk that comes with this, all of that is super unhelpful. First off, it doesn't actually help you get to where you're wanting to get to. It doesn't help you move forward with anything. Ultimately, my advice is you write some shit down, write a plan down, write out like what exactly happened and what you're dealing with right in front of you. Now, I mean, I don't know where this person is based. If I was to reference New Zealand, it is a shitty, shitty job market right now. There is so many people for every single job out there. I know people during the recession who would be very, very qualified, if not overqualified, for some of the roles that they have applied for, and they couldn't even get an interview because there are so many people. And because there are so many people, recruiters are looking for such specific um, requirements for every single role. There are people that would be overqualified that have experience, but they're like, no, 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 no. We want 3.7 years experience. I'm obviously being facetious here. 3.7 fucking years experience in this specific role with this specific job title with these specific job roles. Job roles. That's what I'm looking for. Requirements of the job, the things that you have to do in the role. So it makes everything very, very difficult. It makes everything feel a bit relentless in terms of what you're trying to go for and achieve. So making a plan, figuring out at least dial into what you're going for, not just applying for every single thing available. If there is relevance of experience for you, you go for that. But fucking cut out all of the negative self-talk that comes along with it. There is nothing helpful about it. There is nothing that is going to help you move forward with it. So cut the noise, cut the shit, make a plan, look at what you're going for, and dial in, be specific. That headhunter that was helping you, it's amazing. Go to a recruitment consultant and sit down and ask for advice, ask for support. Help me. Can you help me dial in to the jobs, any job that sits under your experience with umbrella? Okay. You go in, you ask for help. Can you please help me prepare for these jobs? Can you help me do what I need to do to get these jobs? If you ask for help, they're far more likely to help you get to where you want to get to than if you just go in there oozing a fake confidence. People see that as disingenuous often anyway, and then they think you don't need the help. And then you're just put forward for things. If you ask for help, be vulnerable. There is absolutely fucking nothing wrong with being vulnerable to get to where you want to get to. Okay, now let's move on to the next one here. You have to do the wrong jobs to figure out the right jobs. This is actually one that I love. This is one that I've worked with before. Like I've done this stuff before. Hang on a second. I've just lost the thing that I was looking for. Where is it? There it is. Okay, here we go. Okay. Yeah. You have to do the wrong jobs to figure out the right jobs. Exactly right. Stop worrying about finding your dream path. Go do wrong things first, try many bad things. Like if we look at that last person, even just as an example, you're 29 going on 30. Now, myself included, I have changed careers at the age of, I kind of transitioned changing careers from the age of 27 through to 30. I was working in corporate since I was 19, straight out of college. And college, I'm from the UK, so college for me is university. Is not university. It is just the few years you can go to and do your exams before you go to university. So straight from, I don't know what you would call it in America. I don't even know what it's called here in New Zealand, to be honest. But college nonetheless. Straight into a corporate job, and from then figured it's not what I wanted. I learned a lot of skills, and this is one of the cool things about doing a lot of the wrong jobs. They might not be the right job for you that lights you on fire, but they will at least help you find out what you don't want to do, and you will learn some incredible skills along the way that will help you when you get to that dream job. There's so much that I've learned through jobs that I no longer do, that have made me the coach that I am, the trainer that I am. I wouldn't necessarily, I mean, yes, it's even helped me in my sports massage role as well. So the main things that I currently do still, I'm going on a tangent here. The main things that I currently do are sports massage, personal training, and personal development coaching. And the relationship building skills, the communication skills, which you might not be super impressed with at this point in time because I've never done a live stream before, and this is quite nerve wracking. So I feel like I'm fluffing over a lot of my words still at the moment, but we'll get there. Lost where I was going. Communication skills, ironic. It has helped me so much with building relationships with my clients, not having to sit in awkward silence, getting actual information out of my clients that help me help them. And I've learned a lot of that stuff from jobs that I don't do anymore, that I didn't even love doing. They were just jobs that I did. So when, just using another example here, is I had a client who had been helping an unwell relative, and I mean the relative passed away, and the client was sort of left in a funk, didn't really know what they wanted to do anymore, where they wanted to go. They'd been doing some part-time work just to, I guess, support while they were helping the relative, and really couldn't figure out what it exactly is that she wanted to do. And so we sat down, we wrote a bunch of things down that she definitely did not want to do. And then we started to go through a process of elimination. It was like, okay, let's look at some things that you do enjoy doing, outside of caring for someone in the part-time work. And what we actually determined was, she likes kind of repurposing clothing for herself. And she's quite a creative person. And we sort of dug around and dialed into a direction. And then each week when we met up for our check-ins, we got further and further towards where she was moving to, and she ended up creating an Etsy store and sells repurposed clothing and hats and stuff like that. And she absolutely loves what she does now, and it's amazing. So figuring out what you don't want to do really does help you figure out eventually what you do want to do. And also, those situations can actually help you open up new windows or doors, should we say, that you didn't even know you wanted to open. You may end up in a career or a line of work that you did not think was for you, but actually you stumble into it and you're like, actually, I'm pretty good at this. I can do this. Let's give it a go. Okay, let's look at the next one we've got here. So if you're wondering where I'm getting these submissions from, we're in the Find a Path subreddit. I love looking through these things. It's actually quite a similar situation to the one I just talked about. I'm 24 and I feel lost and pressured about my future. After graduating high school, I lost my mom at 18. That put me into a long period of depression, anxiety, and no real direction. Growing up, I never had a stable environment, just always living in other people's homes. Sharing a single bedroom, I became very introverted, spending most of my time playing video games. At 22, I moved to a different state to live with family, hoping a new environment would fix all things. I finally got my own room too. I tried going to college, kept failing classes, relying on shortcuts. Instead of actually learning like ChatGPT, I transferred to university and moved out at one point. But I ended up crashing hard, failing all my classes, losing financial aid last spring. So after failing last year in July, I was diagnosed with severe ADHD, and it changed everything. It explained my focus issues, racing thoughts, why school had always been a struggle. Once I started treatment, I finally felt like I could function normally. My anxiety improved past 2 classes in the fall, and I started going to the gym consistently and gained confidence. I felt an aura, and I started putting myself out there and talking to girls. About a month ago, I connected with one girl, but around that time, I ran out of my medication. My emotions became unstable. When she suddenly stopped talking to me after a few weeks, it hit me hard and it sent me into another downward spiral. I started overthinking everything and questioning myself. I was also getting closer to God, but slip even that slipped me off a lot. Um, since that moment, I felt stuck again. 24, I'm working a warehouse job. I don't feel proud of. I'm going to the gym and not really progressing in life. No degree. I haven't put myself out there socially. I don't have a clear purpose. And most of my time is spent on my phone or watching self improvement content without actually taking action. I also forgot to register for classes this spring, which made me feel more behind and helpless. Today, after talking to my aunt at Easter, I had another wake up call. I always get these. She told me I need a goal or purpose. She's right. I say I want to go back to school, but I'm not actually acting on it. It made me reflect on where I'm headed and who I want to become. I'm back on my medication now. Great. And I know something needs to change. I feel like the gym is all I've got and who I am, which is bad. I need flavor or personality. I've lost my sense of self. And while I'm typing my goals right now are finish college or get a career going, accounting, but rethinking changing to healthcare because of the job market and future. I don't want to be in the trades. I already tried joining military. It's different than trades. Um, and then we've got a bullet point: friends, clubs, common interests. Dream body, already 100% locked in. That's good. Figure out my hobbies. I just gym. AMCA list. I don't know what that is. And watch gym, self improvement content. I used to play video games. Having friends, I have co-worker friends, but not true friends. Why is being 20 so hard to make friends? I have a girlfriend, been so long since high school, but not a oh, he wants to have a girlfriend. Okay. But not a priority, wouldn't mind. And get closer to God. Okay. There's a lot of self-reflection here, which I think is pretty good. It's pretty awesome. And look, he's obviously been on a bit of a journey here, which we can totally see. Okay, let's get back. I keep moving something and then keep losing where I am. Okay. Yeah, he's absolutely been on a journey. And add in obviously grief. It's only been what 6 years since he lost his mum, which is rough. Um, he's still going to be dealing with amounts um of grief with that. Adding in severe ADHD, failing classes, and it's up and down. And there's a lot of negative self-talk here. That said, and this will come in with his ADHD, is like he can dial into the goals, but the execution is the thing that is lacking. And sometimes that kind of thing actually you'd benefit from someone keeping you accountable here. Um, That's a huge one. Someone that is just checking in with you and making sure that you are onto it and you are doing what you want to do. That said, if that isn't an option, making the plan, like he's written stuff out here. I think from my perspective, what I would say is, where did he say? Forgot to register for classes. Now, I don't know whether he's done this or not. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to grab a drink. We are thirsty. Okay. So I would reach out and see if it is too late to join those classes. That would be point one, especially if it's something he definitely wants to do. I would be reaching out to college or the school and see if he can still register for some classes. That might be an option. Okay. Otherwise, um, I would even recommend, especially if, I mean, he's looking into healthcare mainly because of job market, but that actually might be an area, especially since he loves going to the gym. Now, look, not every person that loves going to the gym should be a trainer, but it's absolutely something that he could do because training is something he's passionate about and he's dialed into. He's going to have gained some real life experience there, some knowledge about the machines. He could help someone build their confidence in the gym. You don't need to be training people that are going to becoming athletes, bodybuilders. Some people just need confidence and have someone with them when they're coming in to train. They need someone to keep them accountable. And that is something that he'd absolutely be able to do. Okay. He would actually, during the gym is such a great place to get social, um, far out words, social interaction. So not only would he make friends with other trainers, but some of his clients may become his friends. I'm like some of my massage therapists are massage clients as some of my friends now. Some of my PT colleagues are friends of mine. I know many people that are trainers because I've worked in this industry a long time, and their clients go to their weddings. They come to family gatherings. They become part of the family. It's actually a great way to build up a community. Okay, there's a very good chance he could meet a girlfriend there as well, someone that is also like-minded, um, and becoming closer to God. Again, not being a particularly religious person myself here, not something I can overly relate to, but it's I know people that are, and that's another place where you can build a really good social community by just attending church. Um, People expect to see you there. People look forward to seeing you there. People miss you if you're not there. Um, so this would hit a lot of the same stuff at the same time here. Um, that would be my recommendation. Now, look, if he doesn't want to get into becoming a personal trainer or anything like that, and he does want to get into healthcare, um, absolutely make a plan. We write down, what do you need to do to start that career? What education do you need to get? What classes do you need to sign up for if you need to? I'm assuming you do. I'm pretty sure like healthcare to me means like nursing, medical, working within a hospital, a medical facility. Um, that said, I do know there's like here in New Zealand at least we have what do they call them? Health improvement officers or health improvement something or others, and they work within the doctor's surgery, and they are free for people to see. I think you get like 2 or 3 free appointments, and they help you get on a path. Now, that is something I think you do need some level of health education, whether it might be um, like even personal training, some sort of mental health qualification. One, a mental health qualification doesn't always require university. You can do courses on that, like online courses. They do take a wee while, but absolutely doable. And they can also be cheaper than having to go to a university. All right, I think we've covered a lot of this one here. He's still so young, like he is 24, so young. And what I can absolutely say, like I'm 44 years old. At 24, you you're still developing your personality. Your brain hasn't finished developing. Um, the prefrontal cortex is the last part of the brain, and that doesn't fully develop until you are 27 as a male. And the female develops a little, we know the females develop a little quicker than the males do. Um, and hand on heart, I felt at every age that I got my shit sorted and that I knew it. I knew what everything was. Um, we were like in my 20s, I thought I got life sussed out. And then I get into my 30s and I was like, oh, I had no idea in my 20s. I had no idea. And but I know it now. And now I'm in my 40s and hand on heart, I know now. I don't know it all. I do not even a little bit. But you're still in some ways, you're like, hey, I've got it sussed a bit, and then something will happen. And you're like, actually, no, I don't. And it's great. It's great. The most powerful thing is knowing what you don't know. I train Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and I can say that always there's a thing with Jiu Jitsu that is you always have that white belt mentality. Now, white belt is your belt when you just start out. Same in most martial arts, to be honest. But there is, as you progress through the belts, and there's only 5 main belts in jiu-jitsu. You got your white belt, blue belt, purple, brown, and black. And the white belt, you know what you don't know. You haven't got a fucking clue. And blue belt, you start to know some stuff, and you think you're getting some shit, but then you get to purple belt, and you're like, well, yeah, I didn't. But now I'm pretty good. I'm halfway through my journey, and then, I mean, for me now, I'm brown belt, and you definitely know you don't know a lot of stuff. And especially in the current jiu-jitsu industry, a lot of the younger, fresher people are learning a lot more technical stuff than they did years ago. um, and so as a brown belt, I meet people that are lower belts often who know more than I do, because there is so much available on the internet, and there's so many different ways of learning. I'm not someone that can learn just by watching a video, to be honest. I'm a doer. I need repetition. I would say I'm a very slow learner, but once it's in there, it's there. But it just takes me such a fucking long time for it to get in there and to stay in there. It's frustrating as shit, and it's a tough one when you get a lot of people that are fresher or younger, and absolutely um, making you feel like you're still a white belt. But it's a humbling thing. Anyways, I went on a tangent again there. The fella here, he's only 24. He's got so much time. And when you're in your 20s, everything feels huge, it feels important, and it feels urgent. And it just so isn't. I have gone through a couple of career changes, or at least career shifts, over the years, working in corporate in IT, moving into the fitness industry, teaching group fitness, working as a health and wellbeing officer in local government, moving to New Zealand. I did get my massage qualification, sports massage qualification before then, and did a little bit of that whilst I was also teaching, and I was doing a little bit of personal training. Then I moved to New Zealand, went fully balls deep into sports massage, and built a very solid career that learnt through my knowledge and education and how I ended up helping a lot of my massage clients in other areas. I was able to, I guess, get this realization of personal development coaching that was something that I was good at. and I was able to help people and educate people, not just do a massage and make them feel good or make their body feel easier to move and more functional, but we dial into this what else is going on here that is contributing to the state in which a person walks into my clinic. And it could be they're not eating well, they're not sleeping, their stress levels are so high, they are at a huge impasse at life and don't know where to go. And that is something that I love to do and I love to help people with. And it's because I've been through quite a bit of that myself in my 44 years. So, and what I tend to talk to a lot of my younger clients about is chill out. You've got time. You've got so much time, and you're going to be a different person in a year's time, to 2 years' time, to 5 to 10 years' time. I am not the same person I was a couple of years ago. Though I've grown, I've developed, I've had other influences, and I've met people along the way. And it's powerful. It's amazing. Okay. Well, let's get on to the next one. Okay. I don't see it getting better. Done it again. I've done it again. Okay. I'm 27, turning 28 in May. I've no path in life. I currently work at Costco, and while it's a good job with great benefits, I hate it. I've been there for over 5 years. I've gotten to the point where I genuinely don't want to live anymore if that's all life has to offer. I'm not saying I want to kill myself, but more like I don't want to exist. I would see my life as a joke if that's all I amount to in life. 2 years ago, I destroyed my knee snowboarding, requiring 3 surgeries. I lost all my savings because I couldn't work for 8 months, forcing me to move back in with my mom. A month ago at work, the same knee gave out, causing my kneecap to move all the way up my femur, requiring a fourth surgery. I will be having a cadaver graft, and the doctor mentioned having to cut my quad to be able to move my kneecap down. All in all, I'm looking at a brutal recovery. The joke is that I actually enlisted the army the day before the accident in hopes to find a path in life, but that's out the window now. So to break it down, I'm pushing 30, have a busted knee, less than a 5K to my name. I dropped out of college. The college I went to was diploma mill. I don't know what that means. And I don't really have a discernible skill or trade. I have put the last 2 years in trying to regain my body after all the surgeries just to be back to square one. I feel like a failure. I've lost all hope that my life will change for the better, but here I am hoping that maybe some advice that isn't seek God. I guess the question is, what would you do if you were in my shoes? What would your entire life you depended on what would your entire life you depended on your body to make money just for it to finally give out? Fuck, that's tough, man. Absolutely. I want to just look up diploma mill. What does that mean? I'm gonna look it up right now. Diploma mill. A diploma mill is an unaccredited for-profit organization that sells degrees or certificates for a fee with little to no academic study or proper assessment. These are called fake universities. Okay. Fast degrees are awarded quickly based on life experience. The Professional Standards Commission revoked the licenses of 11 educators who bought online degrees from a diploma mill. We are not a diploma mill. But what's an example of one? What is an example of a diploma mill? So, but I want, okay, Greenwich University, Trinity Southern University, Almeida. Okay. Oops, spelled that wrong. Diploma mill. Okay. All right, I think I kind of understand it now. Oops. Damn it. I keep pressing the wrong thing here. Let's get that and then we'll get that back. No. There. Okay. We're good. We're good. We are good. Okay. All right. So that's rough. But still, you're not old. It's not all over right now. I mean, they currently got a job, which is good. It's a good place to be. You are earning some money. It's giving you a purpose. Of course, you have got a bit of a hike because you got these surgeries to go through, which is rough. And fuck, I'm not gonna lie, kneecap slipping up to the femur, that's rough. It's gonna be painful. I don't know how you're functioning if your kneecap's still up there. Oh, makes me feel a little bit nauseous. But you're not in that bad a situation. Realistically, it's probably going to be, I don't know when you're getting your surgery or any of that. I don't know what country you're in. I'm assuming Costco's in a few different countries, but I mean, we've got Costco here in New Zealand. But there's nothing, you're not talking about the medical industry. Like in America, I know things are a little bit different than they are here. We've got ACC, the UK, you've got the NHS, Australia, you've got, I think it's Medicaid, Medicare, can't remember which one. But you've got options there. Yeah, but you've got 5K to look. I know a lot of people that don't have 5K to their name anymore, and they're paycheck to paycheck right now because there's been a recession, and um, and then we've got the fuel crisis, and everything's fucking expensive right now. It's it's a tough time out there at the minute. I mean, things aren't exactly fucking comfortable and flush for me right now. Okay, so you dropped out of college. You were going to sign up to the military. I don't know if the military is completely out of the question as long as your knee gets fixed up and you're able to, qualify for the physical training side of things. It's not an impossible thing. I just think there's an age cap on joining the military. I know people that have joined it in their 30s, at least again here in New Zealand. It's certainly something that I considered when I was younger. If I hadn't moved to New Zealand and life went in the direction it went into. But of course, that's where my life was going. Didn't know it at the time. So, my advice here is we're going to write some stuff down. Okay, where we're at. If you know when you're getting your surgery, I don't know if you're on a wait list, but you've got a job right now, so you're earning money and you can continue saving. You're living back with your mum, I believe. Is that right? I'm pretty sure he said, yeah, move back in with your mum. So you've got a place to stay. You've got money coming in. They are two hugely positive things. This isn't what your life is destined to be. You're going to get surgery. You're going to do rehab. You are going to investigate whether you can still enlist in the military as long as you can pass your physical training, which again, I'm pretty confident that you can do even when you're nearly 30. Just checking if there's any other information that I missed here. Now, you could go back to college. Again, not knowing your situation and what the schooling situation is like there. I certainly know here You can go to be a mature student at any age. If you're a resident or a citizen, I'm not a citizen of New Zealand yet, but I am a permanent resident. And I believe as a permanent resident, you still get the educational support if you want to go and be a mature student. It's still expensive, but you can get education loans. There's career development loans out there. Of course, we don't really want to be going into debt. And I don't necessarily think you need to go to college and get a degree. You can certainly get a lot of different sort of education and college and qualifications online. You can do distance learning stuff. There's so much you can do. My whole personal training qualification was distance learning. I would just travel and do some courses on the weekends, and I would still be working. So there's lots of way around it. There's lots of opportunities, and you are still only 27, 28 in a month. There is so much time. It isn't all over. What your life can look like now to 5 years' time is so dependent on what you do now, the action that you take. Um, Again, I'd highly recommend trying. Look, there's on Reddit. There is so many subreddits for accountability buddies, people to help that keep you accountable, that you're both working towards things and you check in with each other. There is so much available to you that is free, that doesn't have to be financially a financial strain or add any sort of financial pressure. There is stuff out there. There are people out there that are doing what you're doing. And so much of it is about the attitude and the mindset. And look, I know it's very easy. It's easier said than done. I can speak from experience in terms of depending on who watches this and what age you are. This is either going to make you go be like, ugh, or you're going to relate. But I'm 44 and I'm in perimenopause, and huge hormone shifts are a wild journey. And I'm not someone that's massively struggled with mental health ever in the past. I've had anxiety, but with a huge shift in my hormones, it absolutely sent me into what I can only say is a depression, where it hit at the same time as a recession. I lost more than 50% of my client base, not permanently, but for a big chunk of time. I had lost 20 hours of work a week, more than. And that plus a hormonal depression, it was outrageous. I did not know myself. I was so dark. I was so negative. I couldn't lift myself up. I couldn't see which way is up. And I can see that this wasn't me, but I didn't know what to do about it. It felt completely out of my control. And look, fortunately, I ended up getting on top of my hormones. Just got to plug something in here. And there we go. I got on top of my hormones, and things eventually, it was within a week, to be honest. It was night and day. I was myself again, and I felt good again and motivated and happy. And but it's been a ride, and it's up and down. So I can absolutely relate to the heaviness and the feeling of hopelessness and all this stuff happening around you. And still, even some days, I feel like I'm fighting a lot of fires, because there's so much out of my control. Um, and up until that point, I'd very much felt in control of life. I've been very fortunate in that respect, that I felt like my destiny was within my control. And then there's all these outside factors that were completely stopping me from being able to do what I would usually do. Um, it was a challenge, and it's getting on top of that stuff and trying to control it beyond where you can is a thing that, not the trying to get on top of it thing, but trying to control it all. It makes you more rigid rather than going with the flow. And I say that as that comes out of my mouth. I know that's such an easy thing to say. Just go with the flow. It's fine. Everything's okay. which is great when you're not in the pit of it, in the depths of it. Yeah. All right. So my advice for this fella here is look at what you've got. You have a roof over your head. You have a job. That is absolutely something. You know you're going to get surgery. You know you're going to get your knee fixed. And then from there on, that is then within your control where you take this. You can still look into the military, and I absolutely would still do that if that interests you. Otherwise, just like we did with the previous one, is like write down the things if you know what you want to do, you know the area you want to work in, great. If you don't, you then figure out what you don't and narrow it down. Look at what works out there. Talk to people within your circle. Anyone got any recommendations? Anyone got any work opportunities? Like I know here in New Zealand, and this is majority of where I'm talking my experience from, is ask the people around you. Does anyone know anyone? Like people here at least are willing to support and help you. Like I had been in this country less than a year, and I asked for help on I had no car, and here you don't need to be insured in a car to drive it. You don't own it. If someone wants to lend you a car, it's just you take it and you drive it and you give it back with a full tank of fuel and like a thank you gift. But people will help you. If you need work, someone will recommend you. Um, any roles within your company? Is there any work that I can do? Is there anything? Ask for help. There's no shame in asking for help. Ask around your circle. Um, if you don't have a big circle, then go to recruitment. Go to a recruitment consultant. Ask for help. If you don't want trades, that means maybe you want corporate. If you don't want corporate, maybe you're looking for something more physical, something within a gym, something within health. You need to just take that route, or at least take the chance to ask and investigate. That is going to help you figure out what you do and don't want to do, is by at least taking a few steps in each direction. You don't need to go balls deep into it, but just take a few steps, ask a few questions, figure it out. Is this something I want to do? Give it a go. It might be not your thing. That's okay. We'll try something else. You've probably seen it out there online. All the people that have made their millions, and of course, well, we're not all going to make it there. But those that did, a lot of them were 40 and up when they actually gained their success. That when they broke out, when they became viral, when they became a thing. It doesn't have to happen now. There's not many people, aside from, your influencer culture, that in your OnlyFans people that make a lot of money at a young age. They're either modeling, have a talent, um, and when I say a talent, I'm talking, they're young, attractive, and can sing and can dance, and can do something along those lines. But for the most people, if they didn't have an amazing idea that they just suddenly got bought for billions, most people don't make their success until they're much older. So I don't know why we think that we have to have our shit sussed and get successful under 30. It's great when you do and you can, but that's not most people. That is not the majority. And that's that phrase, like if you hear hooves, think horses, not zebras. Most of us are horses. There's a few zebras out there. Okay, so just stop thinking that you got to be a zebra when you're a horse. I don't know if that made sense. Okay, so just very quickly, if you are enjoying what we're doing, what we're talking about here, and you want to catch these conversations regularly, you can hit the follow button or the notification so you find out when I am going live again. Because I don't know if Twitch actually tells you when you go live. Again, this is my first time. If something I said resonated with you, there's a clip button somewhere just below the stream, and you can clip it and share. I'd love for these conversations to reach more people. If you've got your own situation and you want me to look at it, drop it into the chat now or next time. It's exactly what I'm here for. You can also email me and we will talk about it then. So you can email me at emma@unfuckmylife.com. Unfuckmylife being unfvckmylife.com. And yeah, we'll talk about it in the next episode. Okay, but for now, let's get a perfect one. We've kind of just been talking about this, to be honest. This is just a really short one. It's quite funny. I think that's why I put this one to the side. I didn't want to start it over completely from scratch at 25. I have no idea if it's my frontal lobe developing, but I realized I was chasing something wrong and I was trying to make my family happy all the time. So now I'll do what I want. It feels late, like I'm too old. Like, not at all. Shit, no. There's you're not fully developed yet. You know this. You've said this. I have no idea if it's my frontal lobe developing. Yeah, there's not a lot to talk about in that one. It's just funny. I just really enjoyed that. Yeah, you're so young. You've got so much time. I feel like if that's the only message that gets across from these streams is like, you've got so much time. None of it matters. You know, we don't even know if we're gonna wake up tomorrow. Hopefully we do, but it's we just put so much weight on what we do at a young age when it can change in a heartbeat. Everything can change in a heartbeat. I've just been listening to the story of a girl who had qualified as a nurse. I think she went into emergency medicine. And in a really short amount of time, I can't remember how many years it was, anything between 1 and 3 years, and she's now disabled and not a nurse anymore. And no one could have predicted that. Her life's taken a completely different path, and something that was out of her control as well, and her life looks very different now. There's a fella that's here in New Zealand, Brad Smaler, and he was a professional wakeboarder. I can't remember how many years ago it is now, but he took a really bad fall and a wakeboarding trick, and he is quadriplegic now. He's paralyzed from the neck down, and he could have never predicted what his life was going to look like. Now he's taken every opportunity to make the most of what he can for his life, and he's a name around New Zealand now. He does a lot of stuff for spinal cord injuries and awareness, and he's got a great following. He's got a book out. There's a multitude of things he's doing, but he's taken that with both hands and run with it, and he's made them the absolute best of what he can of his life. And we just put so much weight and heaviness on the trajectory of our journey, and progress and the success isn't linear. It's up and down, it's left, right, it's a few side steps, there's a couple backwards, it's a leap forward. You might go back in the other direction again with no idea. And the fact that we feel like we have to control everything and it has to go perfectly and swimmingly, otherwise we're failing, it puts so much pressure on us. It's wild. So there we go. Let's go on to the next one. Okay. I feel like there's another one I was looking at. Lost it. Okay. Mid-20s. Dislike corporate. Feeling lost. Thinking about pivoting to healthcare, but unsure and afraid to commit. Okay. All right. For my whole life, I was not really passionate about anything. I went to college to get a BA degree in something I didn't really care about, graduating with a mediocre GPA. I got an office job from a small business immediately after graduating college. I worked there for 3 years, started a new corporate job this year in a much bigger company, and I dislike the culture, the expectations, and the work. I dislike having to sit on a desk all day, being micromanaged, being called into meetings with the purpose to micromanage while I send emails and stare at spreadsheets all day. It's soul sucking and demoralizing. I also suspect there will be a cap in growth, in brackets, title and salary, due to the niche nature of my industry. I was thinking about making a career change to the healthcare field by going back to school to pursue ABSN to become an RN. Okay. That would entail work that is more hands-on and you would be helping people. However, I've heard too many horror stories discouraging people from entering the healthcare industry, calling it a nightmare. I'm worried about making the wrong commitment and regretting it because I end up not enjoying this line of work either. So, one, for the people who made nursing a second or third career, was it worth it for you? Why or why not? And do you enjoy the work more than your older jobs? What is the process exactly like to become an RN? Is it even possible for me to go back to school to become an RN with a mediocre GPA from a state school? Any suggestions, thoughts, or even outside of the healthcare field would be greatly appreciated. I can't answer a lot of this stuff in terms of moving into healthcare, but there are some comments from people. I come from a family of nurses, but just to caution you, nursing is high stress, high turnover. At your current job, you're probably not concerned about people's lives, but you will likely be when you're a nurse. You can't be grossed out easily. My sister on her second semester was during clinical at a nursing home. Part of that was feeling clean the private parts of residents. I think she means help cleaning the private parts of residents and helping change bandages. Mum and dad, 12-hour shifts 3 days a week. Often there's not much sitting down. My dad, especially since he works in the ER. Yeah. There wasn't many comments on that one, to be honest. Certainly not that were super relevant. Yeah, I don't know a lot about the education field moving into healthcare like that, into nursing. But I do completely relate to the working in an office, which is what I did for a lot of years before I changed careers. And it's not like, unless that's what you like, you either like it or you don't like it, or you don't like it and you just do it because you like the money. It really is dependent on what motivates you. But since I moved careers from corporate into the health wellness field, I would say that the people that work in this industry versus that industry are more likely or less likely to sit in a job that they hate and just do it than they would if they were in corporate. Like, had I not had, I had two friends, Claire and Brian, who two of my best friends, and it was their influence and support that helped me move out of corporate into the field that I wanted to. Like, Claire was doing some life coaching and offered to coach me. I thought career changes were for people that had a lot of money, that had financial support behind them. And that was not where I was at. I absolutely was not. Like, financially, I was definitely in a tight spot. I got a career development loan, and that was what allowed me to make that move. And I was paying that off for a while afterwards. And look, getting in debt isn't ideal, but it's compared to a university degree, it was far easier to pay off than a university degree would be, for me. And but staying in a job that I was not happy in the impacts on your health, your mental health, um, your mindset, your motivation, your drive. Like, there's many people that I know that work in that field that are, they just live for the weekend to go to the pub, get wasted, go back to work on Monday. You know, they'll get the Monday blues on Sunday, or the Sunday blues, or whatever you call it. And then it's a repeated cycle. There's usually high stress, not much satisfaction. Um, and this is not for everyone. I'm really generalizing here, and that's all I can do. I can speak on my experiences and a little bit on people that I'm aware of. And yeah, when I'd moved careers, that is when I saw more people that would act on it. If they weren't happy with something, they would make a change. And I don't know if that is to do with people that work in the health and wellness industry, that they, because they exercise, because they train, because they generally look after themselves, that they feel better, they feel more motivated, they feel lighter. This isn't everybody, again, generalizing. Um, I feel like they're more likely to make those changes. I completely went on a tangent there. I forgot where I was at. Yeah, I just started talking about the fact that they're in a corporate job. And they're looking at making the career change. Look, I'm all for going, obviously, you know this, I've talked about this. I'm all for making a career change. Give it a go. You're going to learn things along the way. Now, if, let's say, you gave it a go and it didn't light you up, well, you can go back to corporate, because that's something you've experienced, and it won't have been like 10 or 15 years that you were in that and you went back, in which case it wouldn't matter if you did. There's still opportunity there, but at least you'll know that you gave it a go and it wasn't for you, instead of wondering and thinking, fuck, I should have given that a go, could have been it, now I'm still here. So I think it's great. I would tell this person to also maybe look into, message people that are in the subreddits that sit within nursing, because I'm pretty sure there is, healthcare, nursing, subreddits that they would talk to. I would recommend doing that, and find out that. Otherwise, I'll be sitting down with this person and talking about what other options are available to you. Have you tried anything else? Have you tried another field? Have you tried another industry? I would say, like, they say they were the small business, and then worked there for 3 years and started a new corporate job in a bigger company. Like, it sounds like you didn't say you were unhappy in the smaller business, and sometimes working for a smaller business is way more satisfying. You've got way more options, you've got way more control than working in a big corporate where there's a lot of red tape, and there is so much micromanaging going on usually. And again, in my experience working for much bigger corporates, people that end up managing people are rarely good people managers. They just were good at the job and then worked their way up. There's very few people, like, some of the best managers can't do the job. And I know the frustrating part of the people is like talking to the managers that don't understand the job. And I do think there's an element of, you need some experience, but it is far more important to be a good people manager than to be a good doer if you're managing people. But anyway, next one here. I've lost interest in college. No one talks about the pain when you're so burnt out from studying for something that you're not passionate about, but you also don't know what you're passionate about. You're also in way too deep into the degree to quit and feel completely lost in life. No one understands that I'm genuinely not passionate about anything in life. I don't even have any talents, which is exactly why I'm going along with what my parents want, because if I go against them, then what do I have left to do? That's so rough, man, when you are doing something more for other people than for yourself. It's a really unfortunate situation. I don't know how old this person is. Like, not everyone's the same age at college, are they? I don't know how far into the degree they are. I wonder if I can find out how, if this person has done other posts and they've talked about how old they are. I think they're 20. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. They're 20 years old and Muslim family. In my experience, yeah, I know a few people that are they're um in that situation, and there's a lot of family pressure to achieve something. One of the people that commented on this was that, hey, that was me 10 years ago. I was halfway through when I realized, wow, this shit sucks. But I stuck it out for the next year and a half, finished it on time. It was a grind. Wish I'd realized there was a problem sooner and switched into a different program earlier. I waited too long before finally being honest with myself that college wasn't working out so well. Another one here, dropped out after about 5 years of exploring different entry level jobs that don't require a degree. I understood why people get college degrees and went back. The stress and boredom of school starts to feel nice in comparison to 10 hours of backbreaking labour. I do remember being at school was a lot. I think it felt a lot easier. I didn't like school. I got bullied at school, young school. Didn't love college. I didn't go to university. Yeah, passion doesn't pay bills, jobs do. If your parents are paying for it, I would just finish the degree. But you shouldn't live your life for your parents. 100%. I agree there. I completely support that. But since you don't really have an alternative goal, it makes sense to stick with it. Someone asked what they went back for. Respiratory therapy. Sick. That's an amazing job. Okay, and there's another comment here. I have no doubt that it's good to listen to people who have more experience than you, especially those who you may trust, like your parents. That said, you should also do what you want to do. I mean, I definitely think you may as well finish the degree if you can. I think it's really tough. I don't like. There is a lot within that situation that I've read about and know people that there's so much pressure, especially they live at home. They are kind of assumed to do what the parents want them to do, fall into the career that they want them to do. And I think it's a really tough spot to be in. But they're 20. So, an adult, I would absolutely break out of that situation as soon as possible once the degree is finished and you can get a job, and do get a job so you can support yourself. If possible, look, if they're happy actually living at home, but they're worried about having to work in a field they're not passionate about, like that's not worth it. If they end up getting a job that they love, they could stay. But ultimately, I'll be getting a job and getting out of there and going and living going to live my life for myself. Life is very short to be stuck in a situation that you're unhappy in. It's not all good. And I say this a lot with with people that are working extreme hours for their family to put away a lot of money, when the stress of the work compromises your health, your mental health. Like, we vastly underestimate the effects of high stress on our body, our organs, on our tissue, and on our sleep quality. And to live like that, some people will do that for 20, 30 years, and their quality of life at retirement barely exists anymore. There's a lot of negatives that can happen when people retire as well, in terms of like loss of purpose, of desire to get up in the morning. I have to stay on top of my dad, who is back in England, and he often feels a loss of purpose because he's retired. We're fortunate that dad is like, he's a doer, and he does do a lot. He doesn't just generally sit on his butt and exist. He has hobbies. He goes to the gym. He's got his friends, and it's an amazing thing. My dad is in his 80s, and I love that. And that is, I find him an inspirational person because he does so much at his age. And that is what I would like to be. I don't have goals to retire. I don't have strong desires to retire at all. Because when you see this loss of purpose in people, their cognitive performance declines, their desires to look after themselves, they fall into a funk. They don't do anything. They don't. Some people, they stop cleaning themselves. They stop cleaning around the house. The quality of living goes down dramatically. So I don't know. I think it was a long time ago people didn't retire, or certainly didn't retire at the ages they do now. Um, and the health quality in the older generation declined quite dramatically. Um, and I don't necessarily think that's been a positive thing. I think if you are like, I know there's been these people that we've seen it online, where there's older people that are delivering Uber Eats and stuff like that. Um, and then people have done a GoFundMe to help them so they don't have to be working. But honestly, for a lot of people, it's what gets them up and out of the house. It gives them purpose. It gives them something to do. Um, it can keep their physical abilities good. It can keep their cognitive abilities good. Um, the social side of things. There's so much that is said for it. Versus when people have gone into, let's say they've just decided to go into a nursing home or even old people's home kind of thing. And you'd expect, okay, well, there's lots of people there. There's a social, and there's some of them are really good. Don't get me wrong, but there's some that are not, and there's a lot of people that just fucking sit and exist there. I feel like I go on a tangent on that one, or maybe wrap that subject up right there. Okay, I'm gonna do one more, and then I'm gonna wrap this up. Okay, this is a different one, slightly different one. 38 female. The subject is, I need a change and I'm out of ideas. Single mom of two, relevant because it seriously limits what I can and can't do with my time. I'm currently a cook. I have 20 years in food service, customer service type jobs. I've worked some desk jobs here and there, but none worked out. I'm topped out on my industry at $15 an hour with unstable hours. I think it's dollars. I don't know this. I made an assumption there. Some weeks we get 40, some weeks we get 26 hours, that is. It's just the industry, but with the economy the way it is, I'm scared. I can't work nights because of my kids. Things I can't do / not suitable for. Please read this. Nothing medical, no nurse, no dental assistant, no medical tech. Some people are just not meant for that field. I agree. I'm same. And I am one of those people. It will benefit no one for me to be dealing with people in any kind of medical way. I can't sit at a desk all day. Back issues and sitting for long periods will make them worse quickly. Yes, standing desks exist, but I've always been in jobs where I'm on my feet moving. I like that. I have zero issues walking, bending, lifting, or getting dirty. Welding, my hands shake badly. I get this a lot. Trade work is great, but the schools are expensive, long, and I have to work and have kids. I am truly not sure I have time for finances or schooling. I have no real passions as I've been surviving for 20 years. I'm looking for ideas. I'll check job listings in my area. Okay, she is in America, but I live in one of the poorest states in America. Moving isn't an option right now. Pay here is low, very low. Okay, there's some comments that came up here. First and foremost, I hope you are on all financial assistance you qualify for, just to create some kind of breathing room. Other than that, have you thought about getting a job with the school district? That's a good idea. It could pay more. She did respond. OP responded with, "I am on everything I can be, even when the assistance is very tight. We have the lowest paid school employees in the country. I can't make more than bus driver, cafeteria staff, and para teachers. The inspectors require some form of degree. I am on the state and parish sites, often looking at listings." I think she's very driven and she is very proactive, which I really, really like. Like she's not just like she's thought of a lot of stuff. She's considered a lot of things. And like she said, like, I'm out of ideas. I need a change. That's another single mum reply. That was nice. Check out USPS. The post office hours has many different types of jobs available. Most are daytime hours. She's applied for those. No openings. Janitorial, union positions, good pay, not as gross as nursing. She's in an anti-union state. I don't know much about unions, to be honest. She's put that. Someone said that's okay. They still pay to clean their trash. IT desktop support has a lot of high urgency and movement. Pharmacy too, lots of urgency. Paying caps at like 45,000 unless you learn to do some crazy things as a tech. She has found some janitorial stuff though. That's good. Let's go back. There's she's got some really good good options here. And I like that. I think it can be quite niggly if you like she's not limiting herself, which is a really good thing. It's super positive. Considered customer service working from home. She just literally then applied for some. I wonder if there's any updates. I don't know if she updated because this is a couple of months ago and she's applied for a few different things. Let's see if she did an update. Nope. Not that I could see. I think I would definitely be looking for some. I'd look for some work from home options, some like cleaning, janitorial kind of stuff. There's zero shame in cleaning, and you can get some really good. If you worked for a cleaning agency, you've got some really good options available to you. You can get some really wealthy clients that tip very well, even in non-tipping countries like New Zealand. And do you know what I don't like is that she's been very self-reflective, very honest about things, what she does and does not want to do or will not do. And I think there's nothing wrong in having some boundaries. Like she is earning some money. She's not in a dire situation, so she can have some element of like not pickiness but choice. This isn't a like you're going to have to take whatever job you can, otherwise you're homeless. She isn't in that situation, so she can be somewhat picky if she wants to be. Like there was someone giving a shit basically because she didn't want to do something medical. Like, fuck, that's such a niche field of work. Like, that's what's a wild response from my perspective. I think like there's things that I categorically wouldn't do. Wouldn't do something where I'm working in small spaces. And sounds stupid, but anything where shit smells bad, I have such a fucking sensitive like vomit a reflex. If I smell something bad, I'm going to be vomiting or I'm going to be gagging. And even thinking about it, and I have a massive phobia of vomiting. It's huge. Huge. Yeah, there's things that I would never consider doing. Look, fortunately, I'm not in that exact situation, but there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't think it's fair to give people shit. Like, if she's not about to be homeless and she's not in a unsafe situation and needs a job to get out of it, like, there's nothing fucking wrong in saying what she doesn't want to do. She's not dismissing everything at all. I think it's just fucking rude. All right, I'm going to wrap things up here. We didn't end up diving significantly deep onto this one. There wasn't an update, but I think, look, positives here are she's very honest, self-reflective, driven. She knows what she wants, she knows what she doesn't want, and she is going out there and asking for help. She should just fucking, not that she isn't, but like, fucking ignore the noise of the negative shit that comes. There's one thing I don't like about Reddit sometimes, is so much like vicious, dramatic responses to things. It's like, fuck, she's just having a conversation and asking for some help. She's not in a dire situation. She's not about to be homeless. Like, she's got some work coming in. She just wants something better. And she's asking for advice. She's collating, and she's being very real with her responses of like, yeah, no, the one, I can definitely give that thing a go. This is an obstacle. This is a da da da. I'm not doing that thing. I'm open to this. I've applied for these things. Like, it was great. It's great responses. Okay, so that was episode 1. If there's um any areas of subject matter that you want to talk about specifically, if there's any posts that you've seen out there on Reddit that you want me to talk about, if you've got a situation and you want a bit of support and a bit of help on it, absolutely let me know. I am here for it. Otherwise, I will see you on the next stream. Don't forget to follow and click on the notifications if you want to be notified of the next one. Otherwise, I'll see you then. Thank you so much.